So I just got back from DC, went there for the December 12th Stop the Steal rally. Just wanted to get a few observations of the things I saw. You know, Friday was fantastic. Walk around the mall. Beautiful city, never been there before. So it was great to be in the nation's capital. But I had this weird uneasy feeling, you know. I expected to be in awe. I expected these monumental buildings, you know, this Roman Greek architecture to really just put me in awe. But as I walked past the FBI, excuse me, the FBI building, all I could think of is what the FBI did to Trump. You know, as I walked past the Department of Justice building, all I could think about is how Barr has done nothing. Going past the Supreme Court, you know, this incredible building, you know, you should be in awe of it, and I wasn't. I really wasn't. You know, it was bittersweet thinking about how the Supreme Court just refused to hear the case out of Texas. And so Saturday came, and you know, we got up early. We went to the rally. Got pretty much front row seats to General Flynn, Alex Jones. Atmosphere was electric. You know, I'm not a good guesser of numbers, but because we have multiple events going on throughout the city in different places, but I would say probably 500,000 people there. Guessing, I don't know. And one thing struck me as odd. You know, with all those people being there, you would think that one Republican, any Republican, a House member, a senator would have come to speak to us. You know, just to give us some hope over the things that we've seen. Just didn't happen. With the exception of one, Donald Trump, who flew over in Marine One. He couldn't land, obviously. None of us had gone through metal detectors or any of those security precautions that you normally have at a rally, so they weren't going to put him out there. Excuse me again. And so, for me, it was really bittersweet. You know, I would think that some Republican would have come out there, but they just didn't. And, you know, those of us who made the trek there, we needed to see something so badly. You know, some level of support, and it just wasn't there. General Flynn was fantastic. Alex Jones was fantastic. You know, it was a very much almost a religious experience, because they talked about Jesus and the Jericho March, and made lots of references to the Bible. So, you know, and that played well to the people that were there. As the evening kind of started to roll down, you know, we're going through the town, and that's when things got really, really interesting. And I have some really scathing things to say about DC Metro PD, who really, you know, sold us out. You know, they must have had 2,500, 3,000 cops out there everywhere. And as evening fell, that's when Antifa and BLM started to come out, and it got really ugly. Lots of Proud Boys out there. And I had to escort somebody back to a hotel room because their body was kind of giving out. They just couldn't be there anymore. And so 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th Street were blocked off by DC Metro PD. And so they made us walk down, I believe it was 16th or 17th Street. But prior to that, we had asked 3 different officers for directions. And we got 3 different answers from 3 different cops as to which way to go. My GPS wasn't working and on my phone, and the map was just spinning around and around and around, and the Zello app wasn't working. People's texts weren't going, pictures weren't loading. It's pretty obvious to me that they were using some kind of jamming device to keep us from communicating. They made us walk down the street, and as I'm walking by myself with this person, right off a side street, there's like 300 Antifa that were staging up. They got clubs, they got chains, they've got weapons, and they're saying they're going to go F up the Proud Boys. I can't use the kind of language they were using. And as they turned, I found myself in this huge crowd, and I don't think I've ever been so alarmed and frightened at one time. I mean, here I am with my Trump hat on, my gear, and they're looking at us going, well, there's a Trump supporter. And I really thought for a minute I wasn't going to get out of there. And I'm really resentful of DC Metro for doing that. I don't know if it was out of malice or incompetence or what it was, but we were not the only ones that had that experience. In front of us, there was this Oriental couple. I think husband probably couldn't have weighed more than 120 pounds. Wife, same thing, with 2 children. And they were stuck in that. And I mean, I just took a big deep breath and I walked right through that Antifa crowd thinking, I'm going to die. I thought I was going to take a blow to the head because they were angry. They did, they were not liking the fact there was a Trump supporter there. I think maybe the only thing that saved me is on my backpack there was a red cross that signified that I was carrying medical equipment, and I did. My entire backpack was nothing but emergency stuff to deal with wounds. Well, in the meantime, there was gunshots going off. We know reports of one gunshot being fired. I don't think it hit anybody. 4 people got stabbed. And as we look in the news, they're even covering that up. They actually cropped out the photo of this Antifa guy that's stabbing a Proud Boy. We have a Proud Boy that was stabbed in the bladder, another one that was stabbed in the back. I'm not sure about the other 2 injuries, and getting information out is getting really sketchy right now. I know that there was one of the Proud Boys was from Minnesota, which happens to be where I'm from, and they started a GoFundMe page for him, and GoFundMe took it down, refunded everybody's money. On the flip side of that, the guy who stabbed the Proud Boy got pretty badly beaten up as they were taken away in the ambulance. He was nearly unconscious, and GoFundMe has no problem with raising funds for those guys. And I'm just so angry at the police department, at the deference they showed towards Antifa and BLM, but not anybody else. We weren't Proud Boys. We weren't there with black and yellow. We weren't chanting their stuff. We were just normal, everyday people trying to get the heck out of DC. Because nighttime was coming and things were about to get really bad. And they did. There was plenty of violence on the street. I was supposed to go back out onto the street after that, but after what I went through, I was like, you know what? Nope, that's it. We're done. And I know in talking to one of the people that I went to that she stayed out there. She was 3 or 4 feet away from the stabbings that happened, and I chatted with her later. She was heavily traumatized. And as we were exchanging stories later in the evening, we discovered there was plenty of people that were stranded, could not get back to their hotels. Called an Uber, guy wouldn't show up, and fortunately, some guy and a lady were driving by, and they said, "Do you need help?" And I said, "Yeah, we need to get the heck out of here." And they said, my truck is a block away. Sit here. I'm going to go get it, and we'll take you wherever you need to go. And that's exactly what happened. And I got dropped off in front of my hotel, and I've never been so grateful in my life to get the heck out of someplace. And I don't have good things to say about Metro PD right now. I think that they weren't welcoming to us at all, particularly in the way that we were treated. There was no ounce of friendliness. They treated us as if we were intruders into their town, when in reality, Washington, D.C. is America's town. Those are our buildings. Those are our institutions. Those are our things that we pay for. There's an entire town that's built on billions of dollars of tax money that we all pay, regardless of where we're from. And it's a systemic thing. It truly is. I'm beginning to see this in a systemic way. This is not just a DC problem. I mean, there's in a lot of police departments, you will see Antifa and BLM do and commit acts of crime, of violence, of property destruction, and for some reason, they seem to get out of jail with zero bail or minimal charges, while anyone who is considered conservative, a patriot, however you want to call it, if they defend themselves, they are labeled as racists, homophobes, xenophobes, whatever word of the day that happens to be most effective that day. And so it's systemic, and it's across the country, and it's really, really disappointing that the people of America, those who believe in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, freedom, and are more conservative leaning, have to be treated this way. It's unfair, it's unjust, and DC Metro, I'm calling you out. I really am. You did a really poor job that evening, and I want you to know that. I hope everybody got home safe. Hope you guys had a great trip, and we'll chat soon. Thanks.